Wow, there's a lot of you here. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Christina. I'm also known as CamperChristina. And today I'm going to talk to you about pushing the boundaries of solo camping. I hope you enjoy it. In 2015, I did my very first solo trip in the backcountry. I was at the Massasauga Provincial Park. I was terrified. I'm actually afraid of the dark. And I had probably enough glow sticks to start a rave. I called my mom. I was scared, but I made it through the night. And I actually really enjoyed pretty much the rest of it except for the nighttime part, and I got hooked. In 2016, in addition to other camping trips, I did 9 solo trips, and I was really starting to get into it, really starting to enjoy it. It was nice to just get out, go on a trip, and not have to ask anybody when they were available or check someone's calendar. I could just pack my stuff and go whenever I wanted to. In 2017, I did 12 solo trips in addition to other trips. And this is when I started to really want to be deeper into the backcountry and start going to places that were a little bit more remote. In 2018 is when I decided that I really wanted to start pushing the boundaries of solo camping. Now it took, as you can see, a few years for me to get comfortable to do that. But I was really ready. I wanted to start going on what I call more solos. Now you might say, well, what is a solo? Now you can go on a solo trip, you can be by yourself, you can go into the backcountry, and there's someone across the lake from you, there's 3 people on the portage, etc. The trips that I wanted to do were to go out and not see anyone for like 4 or 5 days, just nobody out there, just me. So today I'm going to talk about 5 main trips and refer to them in the presentation. And these were the ones that I think I really pushed the boundaries last year. The one trip is a winter trip, and it was just at the very end of 2017 where I took my homemade hot tent into the backcountry of Killarney Provincial Park, 2.5 kilometers, and I camped there for the night. It was supposed to be a 2-night trip, but I got sick. But it was minus 34, minus 44 with the wind chill, so it was a bit of a challenging trip. I also did 2 loops in northern Algonquin that I'm going to be referring to, and 2 trips in Temagami, which I really felt that I was being pushing the boundaries and going into some remote areas. I made a little bit of a video here. I'm going to show it. I hope you enjoy it. I am at the Sandy Inlet portage to the parking lot, and I've just finished my first loop in Temagami. If I had to describe the trip in one word, it would probably be challenging. If I got 2, it would be awesome and challenging. It was a really great trip. Even though these portages are not ultimate, they're not flat, wide little roads. They're real portages. They got sticks all over them and branches crossing them and bushes, and some of them are tough, but I like it. I like it a lot. I'm really enjoying the remote and the challenge of this place. You know, I started soloing a couple years ago, and now I'm getting to the point where I'm comfortable with myself. I feel strong, I feel smart, I know what I'm doing, and the more I do trips, the more I want to go farther into the backcountry as time allows, because usually I only have long weekends. And I've been doing that this year, and it's been great, just pushing the boundaries and going and doing as much as I can, as far as I can, and going to places where no one else is. It was a really great trip. I loved the solace. I loved that I didn't see any people. I loved that I was on every lake by myself at night, pretty much. Not pretty much, I was. It was pretty awesome. I didn't see anybody in the 4 days that I was here, and that's how I like it. It was great. The trips are getting harder and harder as I go on, and I'm really enjoying challenging myself more and more. That's the backcountry to me, and I just love it. So in order to go on these solos, there were some things that I wanted to change, what I needed to change, some obstacles that I had to overcome. And the 4 main ones are gear, mental challenges, physical challenges, and logistics. So I'm going to go into a little bit about each one of these. First one is gear. Now, gear is important on any trip. When you're going on solos, if something doesn't work, if you forget your water filter, you've got nobody to help you, you've got nobody to ask. You've got to make sure that you have everything you need, because otherwise you're turning around and going home. First thing I want to talk about is my canoe. Now, as some of you know, I use a loaner canoe from Backcountry Custom Canoes. It's a 27-pound skin-on-frame canoe, and yes, it is a dream to portage. I absolutely love it. But in order to do these trips that had a lot more portages and longer portages, I made some modifications. So what I did, first of all, this canoe has a removable yoke, so I adjusted it several times so that it was perfectly centered, and when I put the canoe on my shoulders, I didn't have to do anything. I could just stand there without holding it, it would perfectly balance. The second thing I did was I created a bit of a system for my paddle, and this also helps me carry the canoe because the paddles sit on my shoulders. So what I did was I put some rope in the front and created like a webbing, and then on the yoke I drilled 2 holes on either side and put some elastic cording, and then underneath put a bungee. So as soon as I got to the portage, I was just able to pull in, weave my paddle into the rope, snap the bungees on either end, and my paddle was taken care of. Next, just lay my neck pillow down. Yeah, I use a neck pillow. It's really comfortable when you're doing a 3-kilometer portage. And put the bungees on top, and off I went. And this saved me, it used to take me about 10 minutes to do this, and then down to 2 minutes. So it was perfect. I could just get out of the canoe and go. So it made a huge difference on these trips. Water purification is something else that I had to revise. I have a Catadine water gravity filter. It's a 10-liter. I love it. But when you're doing 7 hours of portages and you're out on the go, it's kind of hard to stop and take out this bag and fill it up with water and hang it from a tree and wait. So what I used on these trips was my Extreme Straw by Sagan. It's actually the same company that makes the Kelly Kettle, and it's a great product. It's a very long straw with a filter on the end. So basically while you're paddling, it doesn't matter where you are, you just plop it in the lake and you suck and you have clean drinking water. And I tie this right into the seat of my canoe, and then when I get out, when I get in, it's always there for me. As a backup, I bring my purification, my water purification drops from Pure & Eyes. I'm actually an ambassador for Pure & Eyes. I have a couple of samples to give away to you guys after the show. But I am ambassador for them because I actually love the product. It makes your water taste like water, and it's great to have as a backup. If something happens to your filter, you've always got clean drinking water. Food was something that I changed a little bit. In 2017, I did go on a lot of trips that were harder than most of my previous trips, so I did take a lot of dehydrated meals. This year I brought more freeze-dried and more dehydrated meals, and because some of the freeze-dried meals are full of chemicals, I made a lot of the dehydrated meals myself. And this made my food bag a lot smaller and a lot lighter to carry on all of those portages. I have a picture here of some luxury items, as I call them, and some of the reductions I made, and you can see right by the picture how much of a difference these things can make. Deodorant, some of you watched my YouTube channel this year. I posted a video about my Chapstick Deodorant that I make, and basically I just took an empty chapstick container, squirted along the deodorant, pushed it down, and filled it up, and that makes enough deodorant for about 7 to 10 days, and you can see just the huge reduction just in that one item. I also switched from my Thermarest pillow to the Sea to Summit Air Pillow, which I really like. And for my tarp, I was bringing the 10x13 guide tarp from AquaQuest with me. I really like the tarp. It's a great tarp, but it's huge, and it's not really needed for these kind of trips. So for these trips, I brought my 6x8 tarp from UST. Now, as far as a chair goes, when you're out on these really remote trips, it's not like when you go onto like a really popular lake in Algonquin and someone's carved out these nice benches for you to sit on. And some of the sites are like that, but there are also sites where you arrive after portaging for 7 or 8 hours and you're sitting on a rock for the rest of the day. And that's just not comfortable. So what I ended up doing was bringing my Eagle Outfitters hammock, and I love it. And as you can see, again, a huge reduction in just the bulk of those 4 items to make a difference in my pack. I faced a lot of mental challenges on these trips, and again, like any other trip, you guys are going to face mental challenges no matter what trips you do. I find some of them a little bit harder because mentally, you know, it's nice to have a friend with you who's going to cheer you up and, you know, pat you on the back and make you feel better, but on solos, you don't have that. So I made a short video on some of the mental challenges I faced. Here it is. I hope you like it. I'm freaking out a little bit. I just came down this ridiculous road. But according to my GPS, I'm right by the portage. I don't know. There you go. You can do it. I often self-encourage while I'm doing stuff like this. I'm not really sure what I was thinking when I decided to take the portaging route over the paddling route. I'm doing an extra 550 meters. The reason for that was because there's supposed to be a chance of thunder and lightning today, all day. Still no thunder or lightning, so that's great. And I'm not really kicking myself over the decision to do the portages over the paddling. I mean, I don't know what I missed. I could have had something worse. It's 7:30 and it's way too early to go to bed. I've been sitting here entertaining myself, listening to music, lip syncing, singing, dancing. Okay, well, the other side of the portage sign is a little better, but I still don't see a trail anywhere. So I'm driving down this gravel road in the middle of nowhere, no signal. I can't find the access. It's 7:30. The sun is going down in a couple minutes. It's gonna get dark soon and I'm lost. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. There's a faint arrow at the bottom pointing this way. So I'm gonna try to find my way in. I'm just taking a breather. I'm actually procrastinating. I don't want to go get the canoe, but it's got to be done, so off I go. There's no portage here. I can't find it. Even if I could make a trail, the trees are so thick, I could never even get the canoe through there. Like, I can't even get it between the trees. I'm kind of getting to that point where I want to put the canoe down, and I'm like, put it down, go get the bag. And then my other voice is like, no, you're almost there. You probably got like 10 more minutes. Just give her, make it all the way. If I was on a loan right now and there was that button that you push, you know, to tap out, I might tap out right now. All right, well, that was scary. It's the first time I've ever done a portage in the dark and I did not like it. After you do so many portages, and I've only done 3 today, which isn't that many, ouch, you forget where you are. I planned a very big route. I know it was a big route, 46 kilometers of paddling, 9,100 meters of portaging. I'm really upset. This is supposed to be my big 5-day trip, my hardest trip of the year, and I can't do it. That one was a heartbreaker. We'll talk about that in a minute. So some of the mental challenges that I face, state of mind, when you're by yourself, you know, you get up and it's a crappy day, you're cold, it's raining, it's thunder, it's lightning, and you just gotta kind of keep yourself up. You've gotta, you know, keep your spirits up, think of mantras, quotes, whatever you need to do just to keep yourself smiling and in a good mood. Fear is something that we all face on these type of trips. I'm afraid of the dark, as I mentioned before, and for one of these trips I had to do a portage in the dark. It was very frightening, but you're there. You can't really do anything about it. You just gotta get through it, put on your big girl pants, and off you go. Being lost is a mental challenge that I faced in a lot of these trips, and when you're going on these trips that are very remote, you know, there's no one to call, you can't ask for help, there's no one anywhere to be found. As you saw in the video, I couldn't find the access point when I was in Temagami, which is why I ended up doing the portage in the dark. And also, I couldn't find the portage in one of the spots. You just have to figure out a solution and keep moving on. There's nothing you can do. You just gotta figure out a way to get over it. I put mental portages in both mental challenges and physical challenges, and I believe that they are both very strongly. When you're on a portage, you can totally psych yourself out or psych yourself in for what you're about to do. I had 3-kilometer portage that I did this year that I totally psyched myself out for, and when I got there it ended up being a piece of cake. I do all kinds of things on portages to defeat the mental challenge, such as playing games in my head. I count trees, I count my steps, I use time, whatever you can do just to get through that portage in your mind and get to the other side. Boredom and loneliness, and this is something that you actually do face when you're doing solo trips. As you saw in the video, I had myself a little lip sync contest and just wore my hair different, put different outfits on, and sang to all different songs that I had on my playlist, just for something to do to keep your mind occupied. In this particular situation, I was trapped under this tarp. It was a thunder and lightning storm, and I was kind of stuck under there for 3 hours with nothing to do. I also play games on my phone, I edit photos and videos, and I listen to audiobooks, just things to keep your mind occupied while you're out there so that you can still enjoy yourself. Decisions is a mental challenge you're going to face on any trip. The thing is, when you're by yourself, you've got nobody to bounce these ideas off or say, hey, what do you think about this? In this particular case, as you saw in the video again, I had a loop that I was doing in off of Cedar Lake, and the forecast was 80% chance of thunder and lightning. Now, some of you watched my videos last year. I got stuck on a portage for about an hour and a half in the pouring rain because there was lightning and I couldn't get across the lake. So I opted to do an extra 550 meters in portages instead of paddling. And well, lucky for me, it never even thundered or lightning that day. But once you make that choice, you just got to go with it. Physical challenge was another thing that I faced on a lot of these trips, and again, you guys can relate. There's a lot of physical challenges in any backcountry trip. I made a short video on some of these challenges, and I hope you like it. I went to hold the camera up to take the video, and my arm is just like, seriously right now? I'm lifting it and it's like, oh. It's all like this. Hopefully it turns to land soon. I'm kind of afraid to pick up the canoe. I feel like I'm just going to sink and get my feet stuck. My knee is getting really bad. Every step I take is like a pang of pain. I noticed that there was a fishing line all of a sudden attached to the front of my boat, and it got caught in my hand, and my hand is bleeding now. Yeah, I gotta go clean that up. This might be the hardest portage I've ever done. Wow. Really, really windy out here on Manitou. My arms are getting very tired. Sometimes when you have colitis, it's really hard to keep your energy up. I did something I shouldn't have done. I had a granola bar with nuts in it. I ate the granola bar, and of course the second I got to land and I stood up, it wasn't good. And now of course I'm afraid to eat. I wish I had my pants on right now because my legs are getting scratched. I woke up and my throat was really sore, and my face hurts really bad. This is bad. Every 15-20 steps I've got an obstacle. It's gonna get dark in about an hour and a half. I can't get through by myself, let alone with the canoe. Be really, really careful. I can't walk fast through any of this. I just have to take my time because every single step here is a potential for, slipping and falling, hitting my head or rolling my ankle. I got a crazy portage right from the jump. I was so scared I was just gonna slide right down it. When I started at the top, I contemplated putting the canoe down and just sliding it down. I'm really sore today. My shoulders, when I woke up, they felt bruised, and my back is really sore today. And it just goes up and up. And up. And up. And up. And up. Oh my goodness. Oh. I'm just forcing myself to put one foot in front of the other and get to the car. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to a lot of these physical challenges, even though you don't do the solos maybe, or maybe you do. Sorry for the poor quality of the slide. Accident and injury is a physical challenge that you really have to be cognizant of when you're by yourself, because there's no one there to help you. I've added some things to my first aid kit. I have my wilderness first aid. I just did my recertification this year to make sure that I know how to prevent these injuries. In this instance, I actually got a fishing lure caught in my hand. It was stuck in the bow of my canoe out of the middle of nowhere. It ended up looking worse than it was, and I was fine. But even when you're doing those portages like you saw in the video, there's mud, there's rocks, there's slippery. You can slip and fall and hit your head or hurt yourself so easily, or roll your ankle. You have to be very, very careful. Energy and strength is a huge physical challenge that I had to face on these trips. As you saw in the video, this is taken on Manitou Lake in North Algonquin. And I don't know if you noticed in the video, but the second I stopped paddling in this canoe, because it is so light, which is great, it is like a kite on the water. And so the second you stop paddling, you're gone. And so when you're in a canoe with someone else, you can say, hey, I'm going to stop for a minute, I need a break. But when you're by yourself, I ended up paddling 2 hours straight, 35-kilometer wind gusts. And then when I finally got to the area where I wanted to camp, I couldn't find a site. Terrain is a physical challenge that you definitely will face when you're on these type of trips. This photo was taken on the portage into Spirit Rock in Temagami, and there's a good portion of the beginning of the portage that is like that. And I was literally afraid I was just going to sink right down into the mud and disappear. So again, you've got to test where you're walking and make sure everything is safe, so that you don't get into a situation that you can't get out of. Being sick is definitely a physical challenge I faced a lot this year. When I did my Killarney trip, I actually woke up the next morning and I was pretty sure I had a sinus infection, so I had to get out. And getting out of a place like this when you're not feeling well, you don't have any energy, it's really difficult. As some of you know, I have colitis, and that's also something that I had to deal with a lot on, especially my Temagami trips this year. I like to compare it kind of like when you have the flu. All you want to do is lay down and roll up in a ball and watch Netflix, but you've got 2 lakes and 2 portages to do, and you can't stop. You've just got to keep going and find the strength and the energy to get through. Portages, as I mentioned, this is also in my mental category. Portages are also obviously physically challenging. Sometimes you're going uphill for 800 meters. Sometimes you're going to end up with something like this. This photo was taken on my Thanksgiving trip to Temagami. I was on the second portage of a 19 portage trip, the biggest trip that was supposed to be of the year for me. And when I got to this portage, I was faced with scenes like this. For the first probably 200 meters, there were 5 blockages. Now again, if I was with someone else, there's a possibility that, you know, we could have lifted up some of these trees and moved them. But because I was by myself, I was in a time crunch, I was racing daylight, I didn't have a choice. I had to turn around and I had to abort this trip. And sometimes nature is going to beat you. Sometimes the physical challenge is just going to be too much for you to overcome. And you've just got to kind of suck it up and turn around and go home. There's nothing you can do. Now, to tie in with this topic, I just want to touch on logistics briefly. And relating to the Temagami trip, I studied the maps. You know, you can always figure out how many portages you can do. You kind of get an idea after you've been doing this for so long, how many kilometers you can paddle. You can figure it all out in the map. There's contours, you know there's hills, you know there's declines, you're going up, you're going down, but what you can't do sometimes is figure out how are you actually going to get there. For the Temagami trip, I contacted the president of the Friends of Temagami, the ex-president of the Friends of Temagami. I talked to people that had been there. The most recent someone had been there was 2 to 3 years. So I knew that I might be stepping into something that might not work, but man, if I could have finished that loop, wow, that would have been an amazing trip. But sometimes you just can't get there and you have to turn around and say no, and it doesn't matter how many maps you look at, how many people you talk to, You don't know what you're going to face until you actually get on that portage and it's right in front of you, and you have to stand there and make that decision to go home. Now, after you do all these physical and mental challenges and you switch up your gear and you get through all these portages, you've got a lot of really awesome rewards. And on the solos, I was faced with such great rewards. It was fantastic. I made a video of it, of course, so here it is. I hope you enjoy it. Well, I'm here on this beautiful campsite on Bob Lake. I'm on a lake here all by myself. I'm in a remote area. I'm alone. I'm doing exactly what I want to do. I came really far today, and I'm proud of myself for that, and I don't need to go any further. I'm so happy. I just saw 2 moose, and they let me watch them for a while and video them, and I'm just like beaming. I'm just probably getting bugs in my teeth because I'm smiling so hard paddling across the lake. Well, this is pretty sweet. Beautiful sunset tonight. Pink clouds in the water. Oh, it's just gorgeous. I just came out of the portage to get my canoe, and there was a moose standing. Oh my God, he's right there. Wow. Oh my God. I'm so excited. That's my 3rd moose this trip on day 3, and I couldn't be happier. It's so awesome. Yeah. Oh, the sun is shining right here. My hammock is here. I got a beautiful view of everything. The lake, I can see if a moose comes out. There's fish jumping. There's frogs jumping around. And I'm just laying here in my hammock chilling. I'm sitting in the hot tent, and I'm nice and warm. Thermometer says it's 29 degrees, so that's pretty good. There, look at them all. Oh, there's a whole bunch. How cute. Well, my heart skipped a beat when I saw this sign. Oh my goodness, and it looks like it's brand new. It's pouring rain, and it's thundering. I think I finally just saw my first flash of lightning. Oh my goodness, look at this rainbow. Wow, I'm getting all the awesomeness this trip. There's a campsite here. I'm so happy. My arms are so tired. It's really an overwhelming place. I can't really explain it. It was worth it to come here for sure. I feel different. I'm not sure how to explain it, but it's just a really, I don't know, it's a magical place. It feels magical somehow. Well, for the 2nd night in a row, I have an amazing site on a lake all to myself. Well, sitting here on Gull Lake right now at this amazing campsite in the sunshine. I just had a swim. I'm the only person on this lake, and it was worth it. It was worth all the portages. I did it, I got through it, and this is my reward, and what a great reward it is. It's so totally worth it. Now, as you can tell by the video, the rewards can vary. Sometimes just having a privy on your campsite, or finding a campsite is a huge reward in places like this. So I'm just going to quickly go over a couple of the rewards that I really cherish. Wildlife sightings. As if some of you follow my videos, you know that I very rarely see a lot of wildlife. On one of my trips, I saw 3 moose in 2 days, so that was amazing for me. I also saw otters, bald eagles, frogs, all kinds of stuff, so it was really great. Going in these places out in the middle of nowhere, on this campsite, I was on a lake all by myself. I'm fairly certain there wasn't anyone around for at least 5 kilometers, and when you go to places like this, you're going to have no noise pollution. I'm sure many of you have been on a lot of backcountry trips where you've done 2, 3, 4 portages, and then you've got those people across the lake. you know who they are. They're playing their music and they're screaming and yelling, and you don't get to hear the loons and the frogs and just listen to the wind. And when you do these kind of trips, this is what you're going to get to hear. Nothing. It's great. Natural nature is something I got to experience a lot on these trips, and it's something that is becoming more and more rare in these days, right? To see something that is just all how it's exactly supposed to be. This waterfall was on a portage in Temagami, and if I wouldn't have heard it, I wouldn't have even known it was there. It was very hidden. I had to crawl over a lot of branches and rocks and things just to get this photo, but it was just so beautiful. You know, there's no rope swing, there's no people playing in the water or swimming or splashing around. I was the only one there, and it was just amazing to be able to see this kind of stuff exactly how it's meant to be. No people. You know, when I go in the backcountry, I mean, I love people. You guys are all here. I'm very grateful to see you all. But when I go in the backcountry, I don't want to be around a lot of people. And when you are, you can do pretty much whatever you want. I'll leave the rest of that one to your imagination. Spiritual connection. Now, the deeper you immerse yourself in nature, the more spiritually connected you're going to feel, right? Greater sense of accomplishment is something that you're going to feel on these trips because you're by yourself. And, you know, you're going to feel a great sense of accomplishment when you finish any trip. You finish and you're just like, yeah, I did it. But when you're here and you're alone, there's no one else to thank. You're the one that got through it all. You're the one that talked yourself through everything and made it happen. So you have a really great feeling of accomplishment, really great sense of accomplishment. Well, to me, there's no greater feeling than being on a lake all by yourself in the middle of nowhere and getting to appreciate the rewards, you know, and what you accomplished by being there. In 2019, I plan on pushing the boundaries a lot further, and I hope that you guys will get out and push your boundaries a little bit too. And you never know, you may experience something that you never imagined you could. You guys have been a great audience. I am truly humbled to see this many people here at my presentation. Thank you so much. I don't want anybody to go anywhere because I've got some prizes to give out. I have some wonderful sponsors who've donated some stuff. I have 2 free pairs of Keens over here and some prizes. And what we're going to do is I just made up a couple of questions based on the presentation. My friend Sue from Sue's Outdoor Crew is going to come up. Can you pass the camera to Leanne? Thank you, Leanne. Yep. So Sue, basically what I need you to do is I'm going to ask the question. And then first person that you see put up their hand, you just point to them and say, you know, the girl with the hat, the man with the glasses, whatever, and then we'll get them to answer. And if they get the answer right, come up here and pick up a prize. I have some shirts here from my new Camper Christina line that's going to be out soon. You guys, I'll post it on social media, but I'm going to be selling some t-shirts, some buffs, and some hats. Yes, shameless self-promotion for those of you who've asked. And I have the unisex logo here, as I call it. It just says camper, so you guys that don't want to walk around with the name Christina on your chest, these are those. I have a medium and a large, and these are the Keen packages here. And then I also have a couple of bottles of Pure Nice here. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 prizes to give away, okay? You guys ready? Yeah. All right. Well, that's all of the prizes. Thank you so much for coming today. I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for reading my blogs and following me and sharing my experiences. I really appreciate it.